I mean, you sent all these pictures out there, social media-wise. I was getting a little jealous, actually.
Oh, wow. Getting jealous.
Yeah, I mean, you look good at the Summit Golf Course. You didn't want to say where you were playing on Friday before you left, but now you're wearing their shirt.
I am.
And you're
yes.
all over the place. Yeah. Look at you.
Yeah, look at that. That was a very, very good picture opportunity snapshot there that the caddy said you got to get this one because if you see in the background, you see the strip and the mountains. And it was a little bit of, I don't know, smog or whatever you want to say back there. So it wasn't totally clear in the background, but it was
nothing like desert golf, man.
Oh my goodness. It was just some of the views and the scenes.
Did you go into the desert to get a ball?
The caddy did several times for me. Good. Yes. Yeah, I did look once or twice and then realized it wasn't worth it since this was this man's job.
Rattlesnake season, dude.
He said scorpions, rattlesnakes. He said he's never actually seen a rattlesnake. He's seen other snakes, but he knows that they're out there. And there was some weird birds that looked like they were only like, the Jungle Book. Remember that Disney movie? That's like the only thing I can describe these birds. They were like cartoon Jungle Book birds that were out there. I've never seen before in my life. I saw an armadillo. My ball was right next to a baby armadillo that kind of scooted away. So what the hell is this doing over? Nobody hits the ball over here.
It's like you're out in nature. You were one with nature on a golf course in a beautiful place. So, by the way, the photos of the pool that you sent back.
Yeah, Stadium Swim.
Ridiculous.
I know. That place, I'm telling you right now, there is no better place to watch.
Look at the size of this thing that they're showing on CBS Sports Network right now.
Yeah, that is the view from my hotel room. Looking out over that. So, yeah, there's no better place to watch a game if you're not going to be at the game than that place. I've decided never, in all the sports bars experiences I've had, and I've loved them, watching at home, whatever, there is no better place to watch a sporting event, especially if you've wagered on it, which you can. You get up, you walk over to one of the kiosks, you bet on it, you go back, you sit down. Then that place. It is off the charts.
I was going to ask you, what was it like when the Knights were playing on Saturday night?
So there's a lot of locals out there now, man, because like Vegas, in the times that I've gone, it's always you have like tourists in, tourists out. And it's still that happens. But now that there's more people living there, like there's legit Golden Knight fans everywhere. So it was a big watch party, and I bet the Knights, and I bet Mark Stone anytime goal as well, and he scored, so I'm high-fiving all these Knights fans.
Who gave you that little tip?
You did. Okay. You absolutely did.
I also gave you Marsha So, too, and you were like, Marsha who?
Yeah, I said Marsha who, yeah.
Yeah,
but I could have bet both of them. I just wanted to bet one, and both of them scored. So that was great. But, yeah, it was a big watch party. It was awesome. They pumped the sound, so you'd hear Kenny Albert calling the game. Loud as hell out there for all the people, and then in the breaks they'd pump the music back up so you wouldn't listen to commercials. It would go from like Kenny Albert 2-1. We'll come right back to boom, 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 and then they'd go back to Kenny Albert. But it was great.
Now here's the one thing I'm a little disappointed in, and it's not your fault.
Okay,
unless it possibly could be your fault, but you got to figure out like who you are now. All right, so like when you get on the plane to go out to Vegas,
yeah.
Like who's on your plane with you?
Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah, where's he sitting?
He's sitting in first class.
Where are you sitting?
22E.
Yeah, what are you doing? You're going out there.
Well, first off,
let's what is your agent doing?
No, what is my agent doing?
Your agent's like, hey, my man Gio's going out there for 48 hours to do this. It sounds like it's a lot of fun, but it's work.
Yeah, my agent's counting the gold bullion he gets from the Nate Burleson contract in his office and stacking it up like Scrooge McDuck. That's what he's doing. So I got sent out there by the fine people at Circa, and I'm not going to sit there and be like, yeah, can you pay an extra $1,200 for me?
It's not like you're flying to D.C. On the back end of a Delta. Come on.
It was fine. Obviously, it's a long flight. The flight back, though, so I was just telling Al this. So we're like group 4 boarding, which is the worst. So
again,
yeah, I know, group 4. So there's no more overhead space when you're group 4. So now I got to check the bag. So already I'm pissed off.
Yeah, I'm pissed off that you're group 4.
I'm like group 4.
What are you doing?
So then I get to the seat, and it's me and my friend that went, the batting practice hero, Brian Felice, and his seat is occupied by a woman. So he goes to me and said, "This is my seat." I'm like, "I know. Don't talk to her about it. I don't know what to do." So she goes, "Oh, I was just hoping that I could have this seat because this is my boyfriend. I want to sit next to him. I have a window seat right behind. Is that okay?" And he's more agreeable than I am. I would have been like, go take a walk, lady. Get in your window seat. We're sitting here. Stop. But he's like, "Oh, yeah, fine. No problem. I'll go sit over there." So you can sleep close to the window. So, of course, this woman, because I have the aisle seat, has to have the tiniest bladder in America. So as I'm trying to sleep, and I'm just like turning around, my head down, I'm finally fall asleep, and then I get the...
Get the tap on the shoulder?
Excuse me, I got to use the restroom. All right, first time, I get it, Second time, hour later, dead asleep. Excuse me, we have to use the restroom. So the two get up, Hour later, now I'm still asleep, passed out again, finally sleeping, dreaming. I'm like catching up on my sleep. Then again, excuse me. So this time I took my seatbelt off and flung it. When I got up, I unbuckled it.
That's what happens when you're in Group 4, man.
Yeah, I know.
I can't believe you're in Group 4.
I was in Group 4 in the aisle seat, but that's what an everyman does. I wasn't going to sit there and complain about it.
Yeah, and every man plays Summit Golf Course, and every man, goes to Circa, like Sports Beach, or whatever the hell it's called.
The Circa Stadium Swim is what it is.
Sports Beach. I like Sports Beach better.
Sports Beach, maybe. Yeah, I was trying to make another deal to get out there again during the Jet or Giant games because they have a studio right in the sports book inside at Stadium Swim, and VSiN is in there now, which is the gambling network that Brent Musburger started.
Right.
So I was like, well, let's go out here, do a show Monday morning. I know you can't, but I was like, I'll be out there Monday morning after Jet or Giant games, but they actually have an East Coast morning show that's in there, and it's their studio, so that wouldn't work out. But yeah, it was great. Aaron Oster was my chaperone for the weekend. He was a WFAN intern here back in 2008. And he had a nickname that you gave him, Mini Maryland. He said you gave him Mini Maryland because he went to Maryland, and he was 2000. I didn't remember him as an intern, but he was the chaperone the whole week. And Derek Stevens, the CEO there, is about as down to earth as you could
Eddie,
possibly be.
Do you remember Mini Maryland?
I do not.
Yeah. Yeah, I
gave it to him lovingly.
Of course, no. That was him. So yeah, and then this guy Derek Stevens made his money in auto parts and decided loved Las Vegas, built this place off the Strip, and it is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So it was a blast. Although the first bet that I made when I went out there on Friday night
was on the Yankees
and the under, and it was 6-0 in the first inning. Dodgers 6. Yankees nothing in the first inning.
It's amazing. Two pitchers this weekend, big question marks. One was Severino, and the other one, by the way, Severino, you remember he was the guy, he's kind of bitching and complaining that they kept him out, and they're being really careful with him. And the other one is Kodai Senga, who, 4 days rest, like it's a big deal.
Right, I know.
I mean, you're a professional pitcher, for God's sake.
Yeah, when you make and this is something that going into this game was talked about, and I think a lot of people waited to see how he was going to pitch before they formed their opinion on it, because it was the first time he was on regular rest the entire year, and he ends up stinking up the joint yesterday against the Blue Jays. I mean, when you make the decision to sign him, and when you're Kodai Senga and you make the decision to come over here, I mean, this is something that needs to be figured out. This can't be, especially when your pitching depth, like most teams in baseball, stinks. I mean, then you have to fill the gaps with some of these other guys. So it's either Kodai Senga comes out on regular rest and doesn't pitch well, or you have to toss out a bum in his place because he needs an extra day of rest. And this isn't good. This is not good for them when you've got two older guys at the top of the rotation and then Kodai Senga who needs extra rest. I mean, hopefully they're in the postseason and this can be a problem for them. But what happens then when Kodai Senga can't come back on short rest to pitch another game when you're paying him tens of millions of dollars to be your third starter on a team that wants to win a championship?
I would just say that it is June and they're experimenting with it. I don't know if he comes back on 4 days rest now or what the story is or how many days it would be between starts for him this time around. But I think they're trying to figure him out. They're trying to get him into like the rotation, the way that they want the rotation, to settle in. I mean, quite frankly, they were overusing the bullpen again. And, you see what happens yesterday. They hit 4 home runs. They tie the game. And next thing you know, boom, two runs given right back. I mean, so it was a frustrating weekend of baseball. I don't know how much you saw of it, but it was.
Well, I saw a lot of the Yankees because the Yankees were on right before the hockey game. The Mets were finishing up on Saturday, the Verlander start, when I had gotten to Stadium Swim, and just watching them go down and down and down offensively to end that game was annoying. And then I watched the Yankees in the cabana we had, Boomer. I was able to put the Yankees on in there, and then the big screen there at Stadium Swim. I had on the hockey game, so I was able to watch both of that. And then last night when I got home, I was able to, or got back to the hotel because I stayed here, watched a little bit of Sunday Night Baseball. But the Mets, I didn't see as much of the Mets. But this is why so far this year, you can't get excited about them.
Sweep the Phillies and they get swept by the Blue Jays.
Right.
And I got to tell you, I was talking to Fliegelman about this before the show today. It really comes down to three guys in their lineup. And if those three guys are not hitting, then they're not hitting. And that's Alonso, Lindor, and McNeil. If they're not hitting, forget it. It's almost like they are just they have no offense other than those guys, unless, yesterday, of course, they have the home runs. But, I mean, the amount of times that Francisco Lindor now has been up with men in scoring position and has not come through is just, it's getting to be, nauseating.
Yeah, and so here's the stats right here. Last 8 games, under 100. He's hitting 94.
It's unbelievable. This guy's supposed to be a $33 million player.
Yeah, and he said that he heard the boos yesterday, and he understands the frustration and all of this, but you're right. And then occasionally, you got Mark Canha who bailed him out last week, and that's something that happened to them all last year is somebody else would pick up those guys if they weren't hitting. This year, it has not happened all that much. So Francisco Lindor, for all the money that he got paid, he was the big Steve Cohen show me type of move. Like everybody wants to say, all right, Steve, you're here now show me. And that was trading for Lindor. By the way, we don't talk a lot about this, but Jimenez and Rosario out with the Guardians have done a pretty unbelievable job. I mean, Jimenez just got another deal. He was an all-star last year. I mean, I don't know. It is not worked out. I know he's a polarizing guy. You know what it reminds me of? It's over and over again. And I know I'm not the first person to say this, but it reminds me of Carlos Beltran and the fact that he was good, but he wasn't good enough. And
for the money that you gave him.
Right, exactly. And Beltran had a much, much better career overall than what Lindor's put on paper here the last couple of years. But it sort of reminds me of that. You know how talented he is. You know how good of a clubhouse guy he is. You know what he's capable of, but he's just not giving you enough to be the guy on a team that you think can win it all. And that's what Pete Alonso has been for them. But he's another guy that you need to see more consistency from as he breaks the Citi Field home run record. So good for him. He can get a little trophy for that and stick it in his office.
And believe me, he's going to add many more to those.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, yeah, it's annoying to see him get swept, especially when you felt like for the first time on Friday, that's what we're talking about. Feel Good Friday. Mets playing the best baseball they played all year. You get people calling up, how do you feel about the Mets now? How do you feel about Scherzer now? Oh, here we go. We're going to go on a run. And then they're playing great at Citi Field for the first time. And think about all the stuff we were saying on Friday.
Yeah.
It all gets wiped right out in one weekend against the Blue Jays. And Kodai Senga and his extra day of rest.
And now here come the Atlanta Braves.
Yep, exactly. And 5.5 back. They won their last 2. The Mets lost their last 2, obviously. So there was 2-game swing or 4-game swing there. Yeah, and here come the Atlanta Braves.
Just got to do what the Yankees have done. They've won 3 straight series now.
Yeah, if I could come back from Las Vegas in one weekend and be here this morning at 6 a.m. talking about the Mets, Kodai Senga can pitch on regular reps.
That's
right?
what I say, man.
What I say.
You sucked it up this time.
Yeah.
Suck it up.
Yeah, suck it up. Damn it.